welcome to the Nick Smith Show. Today, my special guest Lamont Ross is here, actor, filmmaker, and writer. Wow, a lot. So let's chat.
Awesome, let's do it.
So, how did you get into the industry, should I ask? First,
Well, I mean, I was lucky enough to go to a training program called the Made in New York PA training program. So they actually trained me on like the best way to be, to break into the industry and what's the do's and the don'ts. So that's how I kind of broke into the industry per se. Yeah.
as growing up, did you had a passion for film, or how did you were you passionate?
Growing up, I did have a passion for film. I mean, it wasn't necessarily for film. At first, it was just performing.
Yeah.
But then the passion for performing led to a passion for film because I really felt like as a child there were no parts for me.
What do you mean no parts?
I mean no acting roles.
Oh,
Like
acting roles,
as
okay.
a little boy, there were no roles that I could think about. Like yeah, I could do that. I could be that part. They wasn't
Okay,
really
I got you.
casting my type.
That-
And then all growing up, I've always looked like 10 years younger, which is normally great. But when you're 13 and you still look 7, that doesn't really help you in the
in this, yeah, that's your training.
Because my problem is that there were no 7-year-old parts for me.
Oh, okay.
So finally now I feel like I'm at the age where I can get some. Plus the industry has changed a lot more. But
Definitely has evolved.
yeah,
When it
but
comes-
that's, I mean, back to your original question, my passion for film definitely came from when I was a child and I was putting on shows with my sister. But that led me to wanting to be an actor. More than anything, I've always wanted to be an actor. But as a child, I felt like there was no parts for me, which made me interested in film itself because it's like, well, if there's no parts for me, maybe I can create parts for myself. And then it led me to just like, well, maybe I can create these better stories. Maybe I can do these stories that I'm interested in, stories that I want to see, and it just kind of exploded into a whole full blown love of the film industry.
Are you currently working on any maybe TV shows or movies or shorts? Playing?
Well, as far as like being a filmmaker, I'm actually working on 2 VH1 shows that because of confidentiality issues, I'm not allowed to say their names. But there's 2 VH1 shows I'm working on. Then I have a show when I first started in the industry that was a Nickelodeon show. But currently, I'm doing 2 VH1 shows. Then there's for my own stuff, I have a web series that I'm working on right now. It's being written. And then once it's done, it's gonna go straight into pre-production. I already have someone looking to produce it.
Oh, is that the short film you wrote?
No, the
Struggle?
Power Struggle, the short film, that's in post-production.
Okay.
That's already been filmed and
Oh,
everything. It's
awesome,
actually so it's in the process of being edited right now and being pieced together. It's taken a while, but we're finally at that point. Where
Almost there.
It's in the horizon.
These lines, right then.
The web series I'm talking about is actually a web series based on my experiences as
okay.
a theater usher. Yeah, so that's gonna be called Tickets.
Tickets. Oh,
Yeah,
that
so
sounds
look out for
interesting.
that one too.
Can you imagine? I think I should like back then or like.
A theater usher today, in
Today.
today's day and age.
Today's day
Yeah,
and
for like a normal theater though, not
Okay.
like a movie theater. It's for like an event-based theater. So look out for that one.
So speaking of Power Struggle, tell us a little bit about what inspired this one.
Power Struggle. Okay, well, Power Struggle. I mean, my inspiration for it kind of goes back to what I was saying as like when I was a child. I loved performing. It goes back to that, because when you don't feel like there's parts for you, you tend to when you tend to write yourself
Into-
the perfect parts.
Is that like a writer thing to do?
I don't know if it's necessarily all writers. I know something that I do. So yeah, I'll tend to like write parts that I would love to play this kind of a character. And then what ends up happening is that these characters they take on like lives of their own. So Power Struggle started as just that, something that I was writing because I would love to have played a fantasy character. And it evolved into this film that I couldn't have even I didn't expect it to go as far as it did for people to take as much interest as they did. I mean, I've been really lucky for Power Struggle, but the inspiration definitely came from me wanting
to
a cooler
to
part.
see yourself.
Yeah.
in there.
A cooler part, yeah.
But what is the intent or the backstory of the film?
What do you mean? You mean what do I want to do with it?
No, like the characters and.
Ooh, okay. So Power is about 6 magical creatures or magical beings being called together to try and solve a crime that may have been committed in this underground magical world they live. And this underground magical world happens to be in New York City. So these 6 magical beings are called together to help solve this crime. But what we find out is that one of them, at least one of them in the room, may have committed the crime in question. So that's what the film is about.
Oh,
And
that's
the characters that I had to get all my magical characters in there. So I have a werewolf, I have a vampire, I have a fairy, I have a pixie, a witch, and even a genie. Even a genie.
interesting. Sounds very excited actually. I'm like,
Well, I'm happy you're excited. Actually, we have a Facebook like page. It's Power Struggle. It's Power Struggle the film. So you can look that up, and I'll be hoping to post up any new information on there.
Yeah, definitely check. You guys check it out. Definitely check it out. And you worked on behind the scenes on movie set in front of the cameras on TV shows. What are the difference do you find working on a television program versus whether it be on a set of a movie? Is it different?
Well, I mean, the differences for me, I feel like a lot of the differences on any set that you're gonna go on is really about the budget. Because it makes a huge difference. Because
this show.
Yeah, I mean, while something like this is a little more intimate, this tends to be a lot more cost efficient and a lot more. I don't want to say organized, but it's just like you do more with less because you work with what you have. Yeah, you work with what you have, but you're able to get things done, which is what it's all about. Now, the bigger projects, they have a lot more money to play with, so they're able to get the same things done with a lot more cooler toys. So that's really what it is when you look at the different sets. It's just like, oh my god, like I can wander on the set of Law and Order SVU, and you'll see background holding areas where all the extras are just sitting and waiting to be used, where they're kept warm and they're fed pizza. There's trailers for the big stars. There's trucks for separated trucks for you have a truck for camera, a truck for grip, a truck for this.
Audio.
While if you go on a short film, everything's kind of just housed in the same area. The extras are just kind of around. They're just in this corral right here, where they're just like, okay, just kind of stay there and don't move for now. It's differences, but it's each one has their advantages as well. At the same time, like, or if you're on a short film, if you're on an indie, because it's smaller, you're more likely to get noticed by somebody.
Okay.
So even as whether you're the crew, whether you're an actor, you're more likely to get noticed by the people there because it's a small crew. Everyone sees you.
Yeah, you won't get lost in there.
Right. When you're on these big sets, you might only get noticed by your department, which, I mean, it sucks, but that's the reality of the industry. It's just so many people working. You'll be lucky if the producer even knows your name half the time. If you're not one of the big wigs,
Then you're the lead.
Yeah, if you're not the one that wrote the script or found, the whole crew, you might just be another face in the crowd.
Is there any particular project you worked in the past that you are excited about, that you love, the most?
Yes. As an actor, I did a film where I had to pretend like I was in a fight. Like I really got to be a real bully. I got to pretend like I was trying to join this gang. I got to be a tough guy. That's really outside of my character in real life, so I was excited to play that part. I was hype. I was really hype about it. That was my favorite thing as an actor. As a filmmaker, though, I got to meet one of my film legends. I mean, I shouldn't say legends, but she's one of my film icons. Like I really think she's an amazing actress, and I was so excited to meet her because I love her to death. I got to meet Michelle Rodriguez on the set of a short film that I did, and it was just an amazing experience. I'm gonna geek out for a second, but I got to ride in the elevator with her. Like she stood right there next to me.
Did you say hi?
I had a whole full-fledged conversation. She is awesome. She's really cool. She talked back as if she didn't treat me like I was just one of the crew. She talked back as if
embraced you.
Yeah, as if we was people.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you hear these big movie stars, really could take a step down and interact with the
and a lot of them are actually like that. Where if you're there, they'll speak to you. It's not about you're beneath my pay grade. They don't. I haven't experienced any actors or anything do that yet. So far, everyone I've really met have been really, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. It was really good chatting.
Thank you for having me. It's been
before
awesome.
you leave, we have a new segment that we do. It's
yeah?
called If I Could, I Would.
Oh, okay.
So
that sounds interesting.
So, is there anything in your life, in your career, that if you would change if you could, and what lesson have you learned from that experience?
I would professionally, I would say if I could change anything, I would change the large amounts of money I've wasted on people who didn't deserve it. But when I say that, let me clarify. As an actor starting out, you get fed so many different pipe dreams from so many different people. You don't really know what to follow. You know, everyone's claiming that they can help you out for a price. And I didn't know any better, so I'm just like, well, you know, I had a job, I was working, so it was my money, and it was like, well, hey, you know, if you're gonna help me get to where I want to be as an actor, then yeah, let's do it. You know, how much do you need? How much do you need? And I ended up wasting large, obscene amounts of money on people that were either giving me shoddy work or was just running away with my money completely.
Scam artists?
Yes, and there's a lot of them out there, unfortunately. So I got had. So if I could, I would change how much money I've given them. You know, you gotta. I appreciate the fact that I fell for some of them because you gotta learn. You know, you gotta learn what's good and but. If I could, I would change how much I've wasted because I've wasted so much. This isn't something I should be paying for. If you're ever sitting down in front of an agent, if you go into an agency, a talent agency, anything, talent representatives, anyone who's claiming to get you work, claiming that they're gonna find you jobs, you know, they're gonna represent you. These people should not be asking for money. They should be getting a percentage of what they find you, the work that they find you. The minute you sit down in front of a representative, an agent who's looking, you know, this agent is saying, I'm gonna find you work. The minute you sit down in front of an agent and they say, okay, all we need is a, you know, $50 sign up fee or, you know, $100 or, you know, as soon as they ask for money, you should start being wary of that. You know, it's hard to find, you know, it's hard to differentiate because some people legitimately will ask for money for a type of service, but you got to know which services are okay to pay for, and then which ones are, you know, which ones should be like you should be getting paid for that. You know, you should do that and then take a percentage. It's hard to balance in between the two.
But I'm pretty sure you could is always do your research.
Yeah, that's one thing I would definitely say for anyone. I mean, even if whether you're starting out as an actor, whether you want to be, you know, a director, if you want to work in the film industry, I would definitely say do your research on everybody, on everything. As soon as someone sends you an email, the first thing you should be doing, and I mean, we're the information generation. We have information at our fingertips. So anything that you know, as soon as you hear a name, you should be Googling that name. Figure out who that person is, what company they work for. Is that company legit? You know, Google will, if you type in a company name in Google, it will actually tell you reviews on that company. Yeah, so if there's a red flag on that company, Google will tell you, we've heard reviews that company is a scam. You know, look into these kind of things because that's how you're going to end up saving yourself a lot of money. Trust me, I've lost a lot.
Definitely do your research.
Do your research. Yeah. Do your research.
It could save you time and a lot of money.
Yes. Even when you think you've looked up everything you can look up, do it again. Make sure you ain't missed nothing.
Well, thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate it. Tell us where you can find you, follow you on Instagram, Facebook.
Oh, yes. I am on Instagram. You can follow me at LJ the Quip. That is LJTHEQUIP. I had to think about it for a second. So you can follow me on Instagram. I don't have my official, you know, Twitter or Facebook pages set up yet, but you can check out the Facebook page for my short film Power Struggle, which is Power Struggle the Film. And you can just search that and you'll get that. So that's all of me.
Thank you again for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
See you soon. And thank you very much for joining us once again. This is the Nick Smith Show. Lamont Ross, everybody. Enjoy.